Hello friends, welcome to Voice Learning. So today we are going to read one fairy tales. Its name is Heidi. There was a cute little girl named Heidi. Her parents had died when she was just an infant. Aunt Dad, her mother's sister, had brought her up since then. In the meanwhile, Aunt Dad got a job of a housekeeper in a rich man's house at Frankfurt. She decided to leave Heidi in the care of her grandfather who lived on our mountain. One fine morning, Aunt Dad directed Heidi to get ready for the journey to the mountain. They started for the house of Heidi's grandfather. Heidi was scared, as she had heard from her aunt that her grandfather was a mean old man who lived in the outskirts of the village and did not like to speak to anyone. What will I do there? Will I live with that quite old man? She whispered in her sad voice while climbing the mountain. Hurry up, Heidi. Grandfather's house is not too far away from here, said Aunt Dad. After walking some time, they reached the cottage of the grandfather. The old man was standing outside. Hello, Uncle Ack, said Aunt Dad. Well, what made you come here? Asked the old man. I have come to leave your granddaughter Heidi in your care, replied Aunt Dad. With this, Aunt explained to the old man about her compulsion to leave Heidi in his care. In the meanwhile, the small gathered boy named Peter appeared there with his goats. He was surprised to see a cute little girl in Uncle Ark's ever lonely cottage. Heidi liked the goats and friendly Peter. Soon she was playing with the goats and Peter. Aunt Dad talked to Uncle Ark for a little while. Then she got up to leave. From there, she said goodbye to Heidi and rushed for the station. Uncle Ark's cottage was not very big. There was only one hall in the cottage. A round dining table was placed at one of the corners. Heidi was hungry after a long journey. Grandfather served her brown bread, baked cheese, and a glass of rich goat milk. Heidi liked everything very much. Then grandfather laid a bed of sweet smelling hay in the loft. After saying goodnight to her grandfather, Heidi went to sleep in her loft. She peeped out from the round window of the loft. The stars were twinkling there in the dark sky. The mild, sweet breeze coming down from the mountain touched her cheeks and whispered in her ears. Heidi liked her new home. She found her fear baseless regarding her grandfather was a straightforward and caring man. The next morning, while passing by the cottage, Peter invited Heidi to see the mountain. Peter was going to graze the goats on the high hills. Heidi sought permission from her grandfather. When grandfather permitted her to go, Heidi ran off towards the mountain with Peter. Very shortly, grandfather developed a strong liking for his lovely granddaughter Heidi. Whenever he went down the hills to sell his cheese, Heidi played with Peter on the green high hills. She talked to the birds and the tall pine trees. Sometimes she picked up the wild flowers lying under the blue sky. She could hear the mountains and could even smell the ambience. She learned from her grandfather how to prepare the cheese. Heidi even learned the skills of milking goats from Peter. The people of the village wondered to see the old man who loved his granddaughter so much. Heidi was very happy there. 3 years passed on a mountain. One day, Aunt Dad returned to the mountain to take Heidi away to Frankfurt. A wonderful future is waiting there for Heidi. In the rich man's house where I work, there is a sick girl. They want to adopt a nice girl who can give the sick girl a good company. Aunt Dad conveyed to grandfather. Grandfather was disappointed to hear this. Heidi did not want to go away from the mountain and her grandfather, but and that bribed her by saying that she would be able to bring many gifts for her grandfather and Peter from the big city of Frankfurt. I will return with gifts, grandfather, Heidi said to her grandfather while leaving with her aunt. Grandfather smiled feebly and waved his hand. He knew that Heidi was going away from the mountain and would never come back. Frankfurt was far away from the mountain, so they traveled the whole day by train to reach the city. The house of the rich man was huge and fabulous. There in the house, Heidi met Clara, the handicapped girl, Miss Roltenmeier, her governess, and Sebastian, the butler. Clara was on a wheelchair. She could not walk. Heidi was a bit uncomfortable in this alien place, but Clara smiled friendly. She was a kind and beautiful girl. Soon they became good friends. Miss Roltenmeier did not like simple Heidi, as she had come from a small village. She did not fit in Miss Roltenmeier's requirement. Heidi had never gone to any school and did not know the manners befitting their status. But Clara liked Heidi very much. Heidi talked to her a lot about the mountain, the trees, and the fresh air. One day, Clara's grandmother came there. She was a kind and gentle lady. She did not like Miss Roltenmeier's strict schedule. She tried to bring fun and joy in the children's life. Miss Roltenmeier's complained to Grandma Heidi is a mannerless, illiterate girl. She is not at all fit for Miss Clara's companion's job. However, Grandma did not agree with her. She liked this simple, nature loving, friendly girl. Grandma brought many pictures, books, and inspired Heidi to read and write. Later on, Heidi learned her ABCs along with Clara from Clara's tutor. In a very short time, Heidi learned to read and write. Heidi wanted to go back to the mountain and tell Peter and her grandfather that she had learned reading and writing, but it was not possible. Amidst the pleasant remembrance of her mountain life, she thought with a tinge of sadness, would I never be able to go back to the mountain? Though Heidi and Clara loved each other, still Heidi missed the mountains, sunshine, and fresh air in this big city. She always remembered her caring grandfather and cried secretly. Often in her dreams, she was on the mountain amidst all tall trees and mild, soothing breeze. She cried in her dreams as she longed to return home. One day, commotions erupted. At midnight, Miss Rottenmeier complained to Clara's father that the house where they lived was haunted. For the past few days, I have been noticing a white figure in the hall at midnight and found the exit door open, said the governess. She was very much frightened. On the next day, Clara's father, along with a doctor who was a close friend of him, decided to investigate the matter himself. At midnight, both of them heard the opening sound of the main door and rushed to find out who was behind it. They saw a walking figure. They followed it secretly. Once they came out, they were shocked to find Heidi standing outside. "What's the matter, Heidi?" asked Clara's father in a very surprised voice. Heidi returned to Clara's father and said, "Sir, every night I feel as if I am in my grandfather's house on the M mountain. To confirm it, I came out, but I think that I am still in Frankfurt." Saying this, Heidi sat down there. She was feeling sad and disappointed. Tears rolled down on her cheeks. Both were stunned to hear this. The doctor helped Heidi to her bedroom and examined her there. Heidi should be sent to her grandfather immediately. She is missing the mountain badly, asserted the doctor to Clara's father. The doctor continued, "If Heidi is not sent home at the earliest, her present condition may lead to serious illness." Both Clara and her father loved Heidi very much. It was quite difficult for Clara to live without Heidi. At the same time, she did not want that Heidi should suffer in any way because of her needs. The very next day, they decided to send Heidi back to the mountain. At the time of her departure, Clara presented Heidi with a few gifts. Back on the mountain, Heidi was very happy. She shouted with joy, "Grandfather, I am back!" The old man's eyes twinkled to see Heidi. He spread both his arms to welcome her. In no time, Heidi was in her grandfather's loving arm. That day, after a long time, Heidi lay on her sweet smelling hay bed and saw the twinkling sky from her round window. "Oh, my sweet home," she whispered softly. After few days, Heidi received a letter from Clara. She was thrilled to know that Clara would be visiting her in the next few days. Heidi informed her grandfather, Peter, and everyone about her dear friend's arrival. Peter too was very happy and eager to meet Clara. Finally, Clara came to meet Heidi with her grandmother. Heidi and Clara hugged each other passionately. They chatted for a long time. Grandfather laid the table with baked cheese, soft bread, and goat's fresh milk. Everyone relished the food. Clara's visit made Peter a bit jealous as Heidi had no time to spend with him on the high hills. But very soon he also started liking Clara and become good friends of her too. Grandmother returned to city, leaving Clara on the mountain with Heidi and her grandfather. One day, Clara's sparked wheel chair slipped down the hill and crashed on the rocks below. Clara was now without a wheelchair. This compelled Clara to try to walk on her own. Peter and Heidi helped her in walking and exercising her weak legs. The weak legs were improving slowly and slowly. After some time, Clara could move step by step. When Clara walked for the first time, she cried with happiness. She had never imagined that she would ever be able to walk. She thanked Heidi, grandfather, and Peter for their great effort. Everyone was rejoiced to see her walking. Clara was happy with Peter and Heidi. She played with them on the green hills under the blue sky. She never had so much of fun in her whole life. Grandfather Heidi and Peter were very particular about her health and exercise for the legs. Their efforts and the healthy environment there indeed brought about wonders. Clara could now walk comfortably. One day, Clara's father came to see his daughter and was pleasantly surprised to see Clara walking. I can't believe my own eyes. It's a miracle. Clara's father screamed with joy. These mountains have given a new life to my daughter. So now onwards, she will spend all her vacation here, exclaimed the overwhelmed father. Clara, Heidi, and Peter clapped with joy. Clara returned with her father to Frankfurt, but everyone's eyes were twinkling with a hope that Clara will soon visit their splendid mountain. So, friends, hope you like this story and please subscribe my channel for upcoming and wonderful stories. Okay, bye. Take care.